Welcome to the Talented Learning Show podcast series, episode 103. I'm your host, independent learning tech analyst JohnLeh of Talented Learning. Today I interview Alicia Pollock, founder of Royalwise Solutions, about how she transformed her QuickBooks expertise into a thriving online training business. Find more of our fiercely independent content at TalentedLearning.com. Well, welcome back, listeners. As you know, on this show, I'm fortunate to interview the world's leading experts in extended enterprise, learning technology, training as a business, learning technology from both the vendor and the expert practitioner sides of the fence. And today, from the expert practitioner side, we have one of my favorite types of guests, Solopreneur, that has really taken subject matter expertise, leveraged it without a big team, with a small team, with no team, and built an absolutely excellent education business, an online training business with all the hallmarks of a big company, yet done strategically and with minimum resources. And I see more and more of this all around the world right now. Why have a team of 30 if you can have a team of 2 or 1 and do the same thing? So how much can you get done? How efficient can you be? How effective can you be without spending all your money on creating a big team? And I think that's kind of a neat topic for all of us to understand better, to get a little more horsepower out of what we're all doing, either as our primary business or kind of one of our lines of business here on the show and here at Talented Learning. Alicia has built Royalwise Solutions into a company that now reaches thousands of small businesses, bookkeepers, accountants with live and online training. From designing chunked, results-driven curriculum to managing CPE credits, leveraging AI, marketing through podcasts and books and thought leadership, she's lighting it up as a modern entrepreneur. There are valuable lessons here for all of us on how to run our businesses and how to build and how to scale and how to sustain training that makes a real impact. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Alicia, welcome to the Talented Learning Show. It's sure great to have you here.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
This is so cool because really I'm following, and most of our followers are following in your footsteps. We're trying to learn how to succeed in creating our own online training businesses, and lots of Talented Learning followers are doing that. And so when I came across and met you and learned about your story at Royalwise, I knew I had to have you on the show just to share how you did it, because it's fascinating and it's going to be a great lesson for all of us. And so welcome again. And maybe you could start off by saying how you got started in this and basically, why you decided to build a business around your expertise. How did that all unfold? Tell us all about it.
So I have a master's in teaching, and my original path was going to be teaching 7th grade English. And I started in the schools and quickly realized that the public school system wasn't how I wanted to spend my time. You know, the kids are there because they have to be there, not because they want to be there. So there was very little motivation on their part to learn. And then I moved over to community college learning and found myself teaching GED and English as a second language. And so I've always just naturally been an instructor. But at the same time that I was doing all of that, I've been a computer geek. For my first computer, I was 13 when I got it. And the first thing I did was go downstairs to my dad's dental office and create a database for all of his patients to print out labels to send them reminders for their cleanings every 6 months. And so I just took to computers. And so that kind of gave me a new direction. And so kind of a perfect storm. I'm in my happy place because I'm teaching people how to use computers.
Mm-hmm. And so where did the QuickBooks part come in? Is that, are you an accountant, or how'd that evolve?
Yeah, so that evolved because I was doing computer consulting. I was Microsoft Office certified and Apple certified, and I was going to people's homes and businesses to help them with their Macs and to help them with their Excel and their Word and PowerPoints and all of that. And people started saying, "Well, can you help me with my QuickBooks?" And so I'm like, well, I use QuickBooks for my own business, and I actually had a jewelry business also, and I was a brief stint as a massage therapist, and so I'd done QuickBooks for several different business types. And I kind of was upfront. I said, well, I'm not sure that I know what I'm doing, but I'll try. And I ran what I was doing past bookkeepers, and they're like, Alicia, not only is this right, but you have a knack. In fact, your books are bulletproof. And I was like, okay, well, all right. That gave me the confidence to keep going. Then I realized that I actually really thoroughly enjoyed it too. And uh, in about 20 years ago, I met my husband, and he was also a computer geek, and we joined forces with Royalwise. And at first, it was just whoever was first available would take the call. And so we would just book, oh, I got a call, I'll go do that one. I got a call, I'll do that one. And then the QuickBooks just started getting more and more and more and more. And we decided it made better sense for me to specialize in QuickBooks and him to specialize in Apple. And that led us to where we are now, with me being actually known as the queen, literal queen of QuickBooks. Like, I have an actual crown.
The queen of QuickBooks. So tell me about your clients. What do clients look like? Are they firms? Are they individuals? Are they both
Yeah.
all around the world, here locally?
Sure. So I started with business owners because I was helping the small business owners set up their QuickBooks and use their QuickBooks. And the first classes that I taught were geared to those business owners. And what happened was, like, I had a curriculum, and I before every class, and this is again going back 20 years ago, I found myself printing them out and hole punching them and putting them in binders, and I realized that the time and expense it was taking me was running like $15 per manual for how to use QuickBooks. And I realized that, wait, I could publish those on Amazon for like less than $5 a piece. So I rewrote the book to stand alone outside my class and started selling it on Amazon. And so that's how I started the publishing arm. And then by this point, Facebook appeared and LinkedIn appeared. And as I would post about my classes and as I would post about the books, the algorithm started pushing me towards bookkeepers. And there was a shift then that I still work with business owners, and that's still where my heart is. But the bulk of my business, probably 75%, is now bookkeepers. And in the last 2 years, we've made a concerted effort to level up to actually helping accounting firms, because then one client is actually several bookkeepers.
Mhm.
And so that allows us to scale.
Wow, nice, nice. And so it started off uh, live. So you would basically take these orders and you would go to a local establishment to train locally. So that's how it
Mhm.
started. And then the book, and then social media to still drive the live classes. At some point, you came up with let's put this all online in a university. How did that unfold?
Yeah, well, I'd be teaching these classes 20 years ago, and I was sitting there going, wow, well, the people who are here are people who live in the Portland area, who can get to this location and happen to be available at this time. And wouldn't it be nice if we could find a way to reach people everywhere? And so I made my first screen recording video of how to use a Mac and how to use Apple Photos, and we burned those to CD and we sold them on Amazon. And so that was my first foray into virtual. And then in 2017, we had a snowstorm here in Portland, and I couldn't make it to a really, really important client that, like, we had to do the work that day. And so I went online and I was looking at, like, I know there's technology out there that allows you to screen share and meet online. And I discovered Zoom, which was completely fledgling at that point. It like had just come out. And I held my meeting and I was like, oh my God, this changes everything. I mean, I don't have to drive to my clients anymore. And so I started meeting virtually. And then I was still holding classes here in Portland at a couple different locations, SBDC, Chamber of Commerce. I found a classroom that I could teach out of. And I started actually broadcasting the live in-person classes over Zoom. So I had a virtual audience as well as an audience
Mm.
in-house. And then COVID happened, and the world kind of caught up with me. Previously, it was only like one or two people would ever come to the online class. And when COVID hit, because we're also Apple trainers, And my husband's clientele are actually a lot of seniors, some small businesses, but mostly seniors. And so our first Zoom training was literally 85 people whose average age might have been 85 going, "Is this on? Can they hear us?" All at the same time. It was like geese. It was really hysterically funny. And so we were proud to say that we were one of the teams that helped the world go online and start using Zoom so that these seniors could stay in touch with their families because they couldn't be in the same place anymore for a
Mhm.
year. And so that's when the world caught up with us. That normalized being online, that normalized Zoom meetings, and that normalized the ability to take a course anytime, anywhere. It normalized webinars. That's actually when webinars were really, truly invented.
Mhm.
And so the world caught up with me. That was what I had envisioned 20 years ago. And now it's a norm.
Mhm. And so, what's the curriculum look like today? People don't have to buy your book, or I'm sure they do, but is the content online now? Is the like what's it look like? What's the curriculum
Yeah.
look like? What's the level of classes look like? Tell us all about the content.
Yeah, thank you. We started with a learning management system right off the bat because I was a teacher. It wasn't, "Hey, I'm a consultant and I want to sell you this course so that you could join my services." No, I was like a teacher teaching QuickBooks. And we started with that one boot camp class, the one that I'd been doing for 15 years, which was an all-day class. It's a truly 7 hours of here's all the basic things you need to know about QuickBooks. But then that's even though 7 hours sounds like a long time, it was really just mention this, mention invoices, mention sales receipts, do one demo of every one technique that you use, but there's no time to like go into all the specifics about everything you need to know about sending invoices. So I started adding to the curriculum. Here's one class just about the banking feed. Here's a class just about reconciling. Here's a class just about QuickBooks checking accounts. Here's a one just on sales tax. Here's one just on payroll. And because there's so much to know, it's not 1 hour webinars. It's not surface level. It's deep. I go into every feature and every best practice and every secret that I have learned by doing the hands-on work with my clients. I have deep relationships with the programmers at Intuit. So if something's not going right, I actually know kind of some of the insider secrets and tips and tricks. And all of my content, I decided that I needed the credential as well. Now, I can't become a school. I don't want to be accredited, but I did want the authority so that accountants knew that they were getting high quality training, and so I got NASBA certified. NASBA is the certification board for CPA training in the U.S., and it took us 4 years of
Wow.
dialing in our content. We had to make 3 questions per hour of delivery and 5 questions for a final quiz. And each of those questions needed to have feedback on the answer. So if they got the answer wrong, it explained why they got wrong, which meant literally by this point I had 35 classes. I've got over 70 now, like literally going into every little bit of QuickBooks. So that meant I had to make 4 feedbacks for 18. No, let me do the math. 21 questions that somebody may never see, but
Wow.
that's what was required in order to get NASBA certified. And we did. And so we've been NASBA certified now for 4 years, I
Hmm.
think.
Hmm. So what's that mean? You assign CPEs for the successful completion of your class, and they
Yeah,
can report those CPEs for their continuing education requirements.
that's exactly what it means. If you attend live, then you have to answer the poll questions. And the poll
Hmm.
questions are real questions, like about the content. And then, so if you're live, you attend, you're there the whole time, you answer your poll questions, we award the CPE. And if we record all of the classes, and then we also break it up into little pieces. So then the course is available on demand. So the live webinar is an event that gives us the material for the on-demand classes. And then when you take it on demand, you can log in and watch just any one little piece of it. So you can use
Hmm.
my content as a library, or you take the whole class, you answer all the quiz questions, and then you get your certificate that way.
Hmm. Hmm. And do you have to deal with variations of like the quantity of credit based on states around the country, or is if you take this course, you get 3 credits? It's straightforward.
Yeah, there's a really straightforward calculation that 50 minutes of contact equals one credit. So we just take a look at the either the time of the live or the edited time down, plus the time to read the videos and take the quizzes. And so it's a whole spreadsheet. But
Hmm.
basically, it equates to 1 hour is one full credit.
Hmm. And if you have 70 courses now that you've created, wow, congratulations, very deep. What's been your strategy on organizing them into journeys or paths or curriculums or whatever you want to call it? What was your strategy, or do you have a strategy on that?
Yeah, when you look at our catalog, it's all in a relative order of basic to advanced, and from beginning you're using QuickBooks through deep dives into QuickBooks. For people who join us as a member and they actually subscribe to the library, we have it broken up um, into what we call flight paths because everything we do is owl based. So we have
Mm.
learning paths, we call them flight paths. And so that makes it easy to kind of say, okay, I'm a beginner. Let me take this group of classes. I'm an intermediate. Let's do this group of classes. At the moment, we don't organize the catalog that way for everybody because that means that you have to kind of like figure out where the thing you're looking for is in the path. Whereas right now you can just go to our landing page with all of the courses and just search. And if you want to know, like, how do I do a car loan? You search for car loan and it will bring up the different courses that mention car loans.
Wow, cool. And so you mentioned subscription. So while we're there, what are your models? You can go in there and buy it ad hoc, or you can buy all you can eat. Is that what you mean by subscription?
That's a great way of putting it. Yeah, you can take any one class a la carte. So you can sign up, pay for that class, and you get lifetime evergreen access to that class. So
Mhm.
because it's software, I have to keep it up to date, and so we record the classes at a minimum of every 2 years with
Wow.
the new QuickBooks interface. So you can always go in and it relatively matches your screen.
Mhm.
Or you can join as a member. We also do have bundles. So you just mentioned flight paths. We're actually in 2026 going to create bundles where if you're a beginner, you can buy the beginner set of classes and get a discount, and then you have that group. Or if you want to know everything about payroll, you can do the payroll bundle, which has the payroll, QuickBooks Time, compliance, payroll forms, that set of classes. So that's something we're moving into in 2026.
Mhm.
But for now, we do have memberships. And we're going to continue with the memberships. I'm just saying that part is getting added. But with the membership, you become a community member. And as a community member, you get automatic enrollment into all of the weekly webinars, which is where I'm actually creating the content. So I have a live
Mhm.
audience asking questions. And then they also get 2 Ask Alicia Anything meetings every single month. And so every 2 weeks, everybody comes together as a group and just literally, hey, Alicia, how do I do this? I'm seeing this in my file. I'm having trouble with this. This isn't working. And getting my power solved. So people learn from each other. And that I almost didn't see the value in that, but then it really became the favorite part for a lot of my members is, yeah, the videos are great and I'm glad that I've got the videos, but I want to be able to get that time with you and I want to realize that I'm not alone.
Wow, cool, cool. And
Yeah.
and so that time with you, is that kind of just like an office hours at a set time and anybody can join, or you do that uh per client or per organizational client, or it's just open?
So the if it's a community membership, you have to be a member.
Oh, oh, I see. Okay.
And then I also do have a coaching membership as well. And so that's all of that plus 1 hour with me every single month. So it's like, the fourth Wednesday at 2 o'clock, we know that we're going to meet. And the people who are in that coaching get an one of the meetings is special to them. So one of the 2 monthly meetings, one is kind of all members and one is a higher level group of people.
Hmm. Hmm. And how about the technology that you're running on all this now? Have you been using the same LMS since 2017? Have you gone through a couple variations?
Mm-mm.
Tell us what's happening there.
Yeah, I use CYPHER LMS, which used to be called Matrix. And, there's been times when we're like, well, maybe we should shift gears because what Cypher's not really meant to be is like Kajabi, which has all the upsells and the landing pages and the reselling and all the marketing behind it. And so occasionally we get shiny object syndrome of like it would be easier to market if we went with a different platform. But because I'm interested in compliance, I'm interested in certifications and degrees and the education component of it, we just decided to stay the course with what we're using and what we're doing.
Interesting. Interesting. That's a long time though, too. Would you say 17? So that's what, 8 years?
Yeah, and it's a lot
That's
of content to move.
that's a lot. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
no small. Uh, do most of your students return year in and year out because of the continuing education credits? So you continue to
Yeah.
build up more and more students every year, essentially? Is that how
Yeah,
that works?
between the continuing education credits, and the fact that the software is changing constantly, and also, as you develop your own expertise, like I joke that taking classes with me is like kind of like Disney movies, where when you're a beginner, you hear one level of things, and when you come back in a year later or
Mm,
2 years later, you hear a whole different level of information. And so my content actually has a, a light has oh, I don't even know what to call it. But depth, that much depth to it that you hear
hmm.
different things. And some of my bookkeepers say, well, even though I know most of this, you still always have that one little nugget. And it helps me know how to explain it to my clients.
Hmm.
So they hear me articulate it well in a way that they can understand, and then they can repeat my words to their clients, and the clients understand.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. It's almost like reading a good book when you're a kid, and then you can read it every 10 or 20 years in your life, and it's always different.
Hmm.
I'm always amazed by that.
Absolutely. We've also, and because QuickBooks is changing all the time, like it never sits still. In fact, I could log into two different clients and see two different environments. I've got job security, and my work is cut out for me. That
That's how I
we're
feel with LMSs.
Yeah, we're doing what we're calling the Great QuickBooks Refresh because this summer QuickBooks came out with a new interface that is still being rolled out and refined. And change is hard for people. Some people are like, "Oh, okay, I just do this instead," and they're good to go. But 95% of the world is like, "I have no idea where to look. Now I have to stop and think, and now I have to go take my time out of what I'm scheduled to do to go figure this out instead." And people get really stressed out by it. And so we're doing a membership drive right now and a campaign to bring in new members because when you're a member, you get automatically enrolled into all my classes. And because the interface is different, I have to teach a class every single week now through June just to get my library up into the new interface. And
Wow.
we're used to teaching one or two classes a month. Now I got to teach literally every single week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool. Cool. Well, that's on fire. So how are you marketing it? You talked a little bit about finding new clients. What's your primary marketing strategy now? Sounds like you do some social, you do some thought leadership.
Yeah, all of those things. We have we're like I said, we're calling it the Great QBO Refresh, and so we made a section in our catalog that acts as a landing page specifically as that, and kind of funnels people into the community membership, so that they can get the automatic enrollment into all the classes. But as I said, you don't have to become a member. You can just take the one class that you want.
Hmm.
Social media campaigns. I'm actually really asking my community to help with this because with social media, it all it does is show my stuff to the people who have already liked and friended, unless we spend a lot of money on advertising. But if my community says, "Hey, Alicia's got this class coming up," or "Alicia's doing this refresh," and they share it out to their community, that just really helps us expand.
Mm.
And That's one of the things that I really love about teaching QuickBooks, as opposed to my Microsoft Office certifications or my Apple certifications, is that the Pro Advisor community is extremely collaborative. Everybody helps each other out. Nobody's like fighting over slices of the pie. We're like, oh, I have this client, but they're not a good fit. Let me go. I'll give this client to you. And so for the same reason, I've got friends and colleagues who aren't teaching QuickBooks themselves, but want to make the training available. So they've been awesome about sharing what we're up to.
That's good best practice. Good best practice. Is there a way, I see in other industries, there's a way that you can credit your advocates for those referrals or bringing in new clients? Have you thought of something like that yet? Is there?
Yeah, we
it-
actually
it-
do have an affiliate program built into our LMS system.
oh, nice.
And that way you can sign on as an affiliate and you get a little, question mark code, and you can point people to any of the classes in our library and just stick your code on the end, and then you get 10% referral credit. And we're more than happy to reward people for the time that they're taking
Yeah.
to promote us. It helps. So
Wow.
it's a
Great.
win-win situation. It's a win-win-win situation.
Wow.
It helps us get people into the seats. It helps create a revenue stream for the people who are sharing and communicate with their community, and then it helps their community as well.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, I know Cypher Learning has been doing a lot in the last year-ish, probably more with artificial intelligence, with
hmm
Gen AI authoring and the concept of agents. Have you been exposed to that? Is that something that you're trying out? Anything you want to share about that or on the horizon? What do you think about all that?
Yeah, the way that we used it right off the bat was that we do have to generate glossaries for all of our courses for NASBA, and so it's been great that we can just load in all of the material and say create a glossary, and it's been given us a definition list that we can just post, which has been awesome. So that was the easy lift. The second one that we've been playing with but haven't really done is that you can tell it, I want to create a course about
Mhm.
introduction to small business. And I went ahead and I did that and I told it what I wanted to cover, and it created a whole outline and structure for a new course for us. We haven't released the course, but it's there and it's ready. The thing that we've been excited about, we haven't implemented yet, but they have chat agents for the users where you can go in and ask a question and it goes in and answers the question. And just like you would with Chat GPT. But we hadn't implemented it yet because up until literally like this week, it was doing general searches and bringing information from everywhere. And we wanted it to focus on our content, and they just released that ability. And so
Nice.
we are looking forward to 2026, where people can actually log in. It'll be a member
My
option.
question.
Yeah, but you'll be able to go in and say, how do I do a car loan? And not only will it pull up the videos with the car loan, but it will actually give them the instructions that I talk about in the class so that they can just read it and follow it.
Wow,
So,
neat.
yeah, so those are things to come. Another way that we're also leveraging AI is not specific to Cypher, but we are also translating my content into Spanish.
Oh, I was going to ask.
And instead of having a separate Spanish library, every class is going to be bilingual, where there's the English at the top and the Spanish in the bottom. And so we're using 11 labs to translate the videos. So it
Wow.
sounds like my voice, but as in Espanol. Um, um, Microsoft PowerPoint can now translate the PowerPoints itself. So now we have a Spanish PowerPoint. And um, I'm leveraging ChatGPT to rename all the sections of the course in Spanish. And so it still sounds like Alicia La Gringa. You can tell that I'm not actually a native Spanish speaker, but the feedback that I'm getting is it's good enough that
Good enough.
as long as we're saying Alicia is not speaking Spanish, este es AI. They know that we're just using translators. People have actually been really complimentary about the
Wow.
content. Hmm.
Wow, great idea. Boy, you're on fire. You're on fire, and we're out of time. And I knew it would be like this because I've got another 30 questions I'd like to ask you, but we always end up with the same question here on the Talented Learning Show. What would be your advice to others, other subject matter experts like yourself? What did you do? Or another way to look at it might be like if you could go back 5 years or 10 years and do something over, based on experience, what would that be? What's a good lesson we can all learn from? We learned a ton of lessons today, but what would you do differently? What advice would you give? That's an easy question.
Yeah, no, that's a surprisingly hard question. Um, well, I would say vet your software well.
Mm,
That because we were on the vanguard of things, there weren't as many choices as there are now. And, there were certain things that we wanted in our software, like we wanted gamification and we wanted certification level stuff, but all the different LMSs that are out now weren't out back then. And I I can't say that we wouldn't have made a different choice if in 2017 all the options that you have right now are
mhm,
available. So that would be the my biggest advice is really decide what's important when you are choosing an LMS system. Would the marketing component be helpful for you? Is the
mhm.
gamification important? Is the AI important? What is going to, if think about where you want to be in 5 years and pick the LMS that has that in it.
Sage advice. Alicia Pollock, founder of Royalwise Solutions. You can go check out all this magic at royalwise.com. And hopefully, if you're in the financial industry, you would go out there and get your continuing education credits now as a bookkeeper or other professional in this area. Alicia, you're really an inspiration for all of us because you get so much. How many people are on your team? You and your husband, and how many?
We have two full-time employees, my son, and a part-time occasional.
And that's why you guys are our heroes. That's a lot of stuff that you can get done with a small team like that. And that's just amazing. And I think it's just a great lesson for all of us that the possibilities are out there. You just got to work hard, be passionate, and be smart. And it's funny how things fall into place, just like they did for you. So thanks very much, Alicia, for joining us today and taking some time to promote your solution and teach us all.
All right, thank you very much. It's really a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Cool. Listeners, well, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Talented Learning Show podcast series. We hope you found value, and we'll see you on the next. Have a great day, and you can find more of our fiercely independent information at talentedlearning.com. See you, everyone.